start. You are kindly requested to take a seat. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pietro Finocchio. I am a retired general of the Italian Air Force, and nowadays, even if I am retired, I am the director of a Center of Aeronautical Military Studies that have supported Unisanio and Roma Trade, two universities that are organizing the highly relevant event for the Aerospace and Electronic Systems Society, Military Metrology for Aerospace. Okay, welcome to Casa dell'Aviatore, which is our officers club. And without wasting your time, I would like to give the floor to Professor Da Ponte for the welcome.
Da Ponte, I'm a full professor in electronic management at the University of Giugno, Italy, and I would like to say a few words about the history of this event, the origin. Military metrology for aerospace was an idea of the FCA Naples chapter, together my friend Dario Nicolella and other colleagues and friends in Naples. And we started this activity with the cooperation of the Italian Air Force. But the first event was at Accademia Aeronautica, the Italian Air Force Academy, Consumi. It's a wonderful and touristic place, but it's a place full of technology, in particular for the new generation of the aviators. And this was the forum to put together what AFSEA suggests, academicians, people from industrial companies, university. And special attention to this first event was the technology for drones, unmanned vehicles. But what is important, this type of new apparatus technology, what you in them. They may fly because they measure. So, measuring for flying. And why they are flying? For measuring. So this link between my specialization, measure something, and drones. The drone may fly because measured. Without measure, there is no flying. And when it's flying, is measuring something, taking photos, measuring environmental parameters. So measuring drones, flying is together, is a new space of exploration from scientific point of view. This is my basic idea. This is the idea on which we founded this type of meetings to increase the improved knowledge, specifically. For example, when you are measuring some dimensional parameters, what is the uncertainty? You are measuring something, but the error, the uncertainty, what is? Are we able to measure this? Are we able to estimate these parameters? This is a new, completely new field of application from the metrology point of view. After the success of this first event, we meet again in Florence, always with the support of Italian Force, and this time at the Institute of Military Aeronautical Science of Italian Air Force in Florence. Special attention in this case was devoted to meteorology, how to measure the parameters for the weather forecast. Florence, Renaissance, art, science, all together with a very, very attractive event. After Florence, of course, the interest in this event grew and grew, and we had the pleasure and honor to collect the interest not only of the Italian Air Force, also the Italian Army, Italian Navy, and the Carabinieri. And all together we were in Padua in last year at the Circolo Unificato dell'Esercito, where we discussed about the metrology for aerospace, but not only from the Air Force point of view, but also Carabinieri, what they think about Navy, Army. And of course, last slide, the interest this year is devoted to the instrumentation measurement for logistics support and maintenance. I wish personally to say thank you to friends, colleagues from the AFSIA Naples chapter, Rome chapter, from Associazione Aeronautica, in particolare, if I may say, my friend, General Pietro Finocchio, that supported a lot from beginning the idea and opened us the opportunities of this meeting, not only for this military metrology for aerospace, but also for the conference that we have, is the IEEE International Workshop on Metrology for Aerospace, that will be held starting from this afternoon at the CNR, at a few 200-300 meters from here, in the Piazzale Aldo Moro. And there we have the possibility to attend more than 150 presentations on metrology for aerospace. Last but very important thing, thank you to the sponsors, means Alenia Space, Setel and Orizzonte Sistemi Navali supporting this meeting this morning. Thank you again.
I would like also to thank AFSIA Europe, AFSIA Rome, and AFSIA Naples for their support to this event. And now let's start the presentation with the keynote speaker, Major General Fabio Molteni. He is the Deputy Commander of the Air Force Logistics Command since May 2018. The general is native of Rome. He joined the Air Force in 1974 and graduated from the Italian Air Force Academy in 1978. After completing the flight training school at Amendola, he was appointed a military pilot, ranking first in his class. He has been also my pupil at the Air Force Academy. I was his teacher of radio technique. He has served in many Air Force and was one of the best pupils. He has served in many Air Force units and he has been at the Flight Test Center as experimental test pilot. He has been also the commander of the 2nd Division of the Air Force Logistics Command Rome, and also has been for 6 years the commander of the Experimental Flight Center of the Italian Air Force, Pratica di Mare Airport. Major General Molteni is married to Carla, and they have one daughter and one son. Fabio, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Working. Okay. Thank you, Peter, for this introduction. I was in command also of the joint test range in Sardinia, so many years ago. This is a, 5th generation logistics is a big name, big word, and a big reality. So I do my best to explain what is going on within the logistics command of the Air Force in this period. Okay, this is the symbol of logistics command. When it's translated from Italian immediately, where needed, where is needed, okay, from Latin. This briefing isn't classified. The reason why I specified this because we're mentioning the F-35, as you probably know, is a very delicate topic for the classification and as a topic, as it is in my country, in our countries. This is the building, the Air Force building, where the logistics command is located. And I was looking for a good definition of logistics. Okay, logistics is something that is widely considered in the industry, in the civilian world. This is probably the best definition I found on the NATO AAP6. The first thing to know, this is a science. Okay, that means we need to apply laws and rules and principles, not inventing anything. I always stress this. Logistics is an evolution. We're not going to invent anything, because if logistics is logistics. Okay? It's extremely real. It's not like operational. In the operational, you need to invent something to surprise the enemy. Logistics, it's important not to invent anything. Think about it 10 times when you start something new. Deal with design and development, the first area. Acquisition, construction, maintenance, and disposition. This position is important when you enter in the process of eliminating something from your inventory. And acquisition of forensic services and medical and health service support. And also the health system within the armed forces is something that is in the logistic definition. The origin, as you probably know, all the military operations are starting during the Roman Empire and the Roman soldiers. The Roman soldiers, 50% was logistic and 50% was fighting. Consider the level of technological weapon system at that time. Something that really surprised me when I learned this. This is an example of castrum, and then there's the evolution of fighting and wars during the centuries. During the Napoleon era, period of time, we start having some scientists of the logistics. For instance, I always mention Giugno. Giugno was a French owner, very good on treating and considering logistics from the scientific point of view. History again, the Air Force was born in 1923, the second one after Royal Air Force was starting its life in 1917, and we started considering logistics from the beginning. The aircraft is very difficult to maintain and to run as a system. It's very complicated, very delicate, has a big defect sometimes breaks down, and we need to do something in order to avoid this, to prevent the failure of the system. Another mention of history, in 1942 we started our first inspectorate. Was created in 1942 during World War II, and in 1965 we created the Inspectorate of Logistics Support within the Air Force. In 1997 we changed our structure completely. We reorganized the entire defense structure, and within the Air Force we created in March 1999 the Logistic Command as it is. The idea was centralize all the logistic function in a big, we call it I Command, and it's based in the building very close to this lab. This is just how the Ministry of Defense is organized. There is a Chief of Defense, Joint Chief of Defense, the 4 Armed Forces, the Air Staff is the third one. This is the Air Staff, Personnel Directorate, and the Logistic Command is right in the middle of the operational and the Air Force School Command. This is the Chief of Air, and this is the Logistic Commander. He's not here today, and I'm the deputy. Okay. And this is our organization chart. There is a staff also, staff officers, flight test center. We call the 7 Sisters. There are 8. As you can see, we try to cover all the area of logistic support within the Air Force. supposed to be a movie, but it doesn't work. As sometimes happen when you run with the computers. So we jump the movie. And this is the mission of the logistic command. The most important is deliver operational capability. Everything is focused towards the operational needs. Okay? Technology support, we have first units in order to provide highest readiness of weapon system. The highest readiness level, possible level of weapon system. Implemented directly as smartly adjusting the operational processes from the rational point of view, organize and revise the processes is something that's very important. Has to be sustainable use of resources and delivering effective and efficient operational logistics support. Possibly with a synergic joint service and joint agency integration in order to be useful to the nation as an air force. Next. And the vision is provide a lean and cohesive logistic command able to deliver competence and capability support to an air force that is increasingly useful to the nation. Cohesive is something that our boss is using in these days, and lean is something that probably need a little thought about it. Lean means sharp without fat, so well-dimensioned in order to provide the right logistics. When it's lean and fat, it's difficult to reach. It's probably an aim to arrive in a lean condition. You can, think about it, what lean means for an organization. These are the symbols of the different division. The second one is on the right corner, and as you can see, there is a Sepova camera. Sepova camera is the organization at the is the organization that is running the F-35. Okay, is the range in Sardinia, and it's the flight center with the Icarus as a symbol, simpatica di mare. Now we're back to the topic of today. Today's topic: the F-35 Lightning, the Lightning II, the fifth generation fighter. I was looking for a definition of fifth generation fighter, and I found this slide very useful, and I'm going to show you what that technology is going to provide to the fight arena. The first generation subsonic guns, bombs, rocket, fighting against the opponents. This probably was the former Warsaw Pact. The period is conventionally 45-55. I'm talking about fighter generation of the 80s, F-86, 84, and so on, 100. This is the Delta Dart, and was a fighter during the 60s. The second generation, now we're coming to the supersonic, first generation radars, missiles and guns. Again, parity against the opponents, the same technology level of the opponents. Going to the third generation, the F-4 Phantom. Multi-role, supersonic, better radar, more missiles, semi-active missiles. 60s, 70s during the Vietnam War generation. The 104 is that time frame. Now we're getting to the fourth generation, F-16. More avionics, guided weapons, more agility and speed. During the 80s, were a lot of stress on the agility and super maneuverability, thrust vectoring, unstable aircraft, and so on. Again, is probably with more training, we're going to get a better advantage. We're not getting on the stealth business yet, even though the stealth, the first squadron fielded by the Air Force, the American Air Force, United States Air Force, was done at the beginning of the 80s, in 83, the F-117. This is B2. The fifth generation, we finally arrived fourth generation plus. We started getting low observability 3 events, integrated avionics, GPS, precision weapons, superiority with weapon system, and navigation with the GPS, and so on. We put the conventional data on 2005. Now we got the fifth generation, finally. All stealth, all the time, throughout the spectrum, very low observability, fighter performance, information fusion, net-centric operations, sustainable and deployable. On this slide is total air dominance between 2005 and 2030 plus. It's the fifth generation of fighters. So we're getting the F-35, so we're going to move towards the fifth generation. So what's going to happen on the logistics side? How are we going to run the logistics for this new fighter generation? We need to do something a little bit better than the legacy. We used to have in a different country a separate logistics support and armed forces. We ran some simulation and we found it very unsustainable, unaffordable from the financial point of view. So we need to invent something. We are. Why? Logistics has to. The most important factor of logistics is the cost. Okay, cost is running everything. We need to do an analysis of cost, what we are fielding from a logistic point of view, and and then we need to try something to reduce the total cost. Integrated support, common design, develop, and deliver. When you think about a new aircraft, you have to think about how to maintain, and because the aircraft is going to break, and there's no way to do. We can avoid this. The failure is always, fortunately for us, is built by human beings. So there are some bad things inside anyway. So we need to cure the aircraft, and so we need to think about it from the beginning. Probably somebody in the room knows the leader spec 1388, it was doctrine of logistics support. So we need to put in common, probably if we put in common something, we're going to save money. What the factor of logistics support? Spares, training for maintenance people, engineering in order to run in a smart way the entire weapon system, and rationalize the support equipment. Probably in this room, somebody knows that support equipment for the Eurofighter, there are more than 1,000 support equipment, type of support equipment. It's way too much. We need to reduce the logistic footprint of weapon system in order to be affordable. Again, global support solution. What we think was good, we realized a LOC, a Logistic Operations Center in Cameri, able to access and monitor the autonomic logistic global system run by from the United States for the F-35. So sort of center dedicated to our armed forces. I say our armed forces, including the Navy. Believe it or not, there are some sailors in the room. One sailor, I believe. Must be capable to maintain and follow activity. Airworthiness is important. Airworthiness, and it's under our responsibility, unique responsibility, Air Force and Navy responsibility. Fleet management, it's very important how to run the fleet of the aircraft. Try to improve the maintenance procedures. How to allocate the manpower and aircraft in the basis of the F-35. And then processing, shipping, and repair time reduced for spare parts. This is the idea. Those are the driving factors. So what about maintenance concept? This is probably one of the most important points. We used to have operational level, intermediate, and depot level. This is the US terminology. We use the first line, second, third line, and fourth line of maintenance. The GIA was a concept we developed during the 90s. We decided to organize a maintenance concept not based on the squadron level, but at a higher level, at wing level. We found that it was a good idea when we ran some examples. Now it's working fine, but on the F-35 we thought it was probably better go back to the operational level, so provide the at squadron level maintenance capability and eliminate the intermediate level and arrive at depot level, coincident in this case with the lock in Camry. I'm talking about both fleets, A version and B version. What are the challenges? Cost reduction unpredicted. We need to go towards some reducing costs. I mentioned the logistic footprint is probably one of the most important things on logistics. How big is the footprint? The larger is the footprint, the largest are the amount of money we need to put in. Money and people. And it's going to be complex and difficult to run. And then, probably the most important one of all, sharing overall responsibility between the Air Force and the industry. It put US in the brackets because everything is run by Lockheed Martin, and we need to follow that track in a very, very responsible and accurate way. We are at the end. There are some topic and suggestion inside this presentation. There is no silver bullet in logistics. A lot of things to think about and a lot of things to do. And we need to save money and people. There's no way to go around this concept. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabio. There are some minutes for questions. Is there anyone that would like to ask questions to General Multeni? Please raise your hand. Okay. Apparently there are no questions. Okay. Thank you, Fabio. Next speaker will be Colonnello Lucio Lorenzon. He's replacing General Maurizio Stolfi, who was supposed to be here. Maurizio Stolfi is the commander of the 2nd Division of the Italian Air Force Logistic Command. Today, unfortunately, he has been engaged by our Chief of Staff. And so, dear Colonel Lorenzon, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lucio Lorenzon. I'm working on the 2nd Division in the Italian Air Force Logistic Command that is in charge for logistic support to our fleets. Okay, the main theme of today is the logistic support evolution for the Italian Air Force fleet. It's, as General Multeni said, we are in a crucial point. We are challenging the main problem that we have. We have our money is reducing decades, reducing, but we have another problem. We are reducing too. We are in 2024. We will be 10,000 people less than today. Many of them are maintenance, so we are facing this challenge: how to reduce and to provide the right support to our fleet. Okay. So today I will speak about life cycle engineering of aircraft. Just a short picture of our metal structure, some case study and conclusion. Okay, this is a very, very complex activity. Look at it. We have a lot of steps when we are buying a new weapon system. No, it's not an aircraft, it's a weapon system. It's really complex. We have to look on the market to decide what we want on the operational side and on the logistic and support side. Then we have to decide our subgroups, our tooling. We have to start to have a contract for design the new weapon system. Then we have the production contract phase with the initial operational test and evaluation. Then we receive our initial operational clearance. Speaking about F-35, at the end of this year we will achieve our initial operational clearance for our fleet. I'm speaking about Italian Air Force, and we will achieve also the initial operational clearance for the LOC, for the Logistic Operational Center. So we are in the same time on the operational side and on the logistic support side. Then, at the end, the final, we have to receive achieve the full operational clearance. Then we have our in-service activity with the service support contract. Certificazioni tecniche operative is something that we are using internal. Normally we have a midlife upgrade. JSF another time is completely different from the other weapon system. Then at the end, normally we never remember that we have this phase. This is very complex. The phase out phase, that is a real nightmare today, because we have a lot of problems, of environmental problems, and so on, safety problems, security problems, and so on. Okay, so it's not only technical or logistic, it's contractual, legal. We have a nightmare activity on the contract side. General Finocchio remember well. We need to plan our contract activity. We need to have to define our requirements, again, the company, the industry, the time, the cost, and we have the legal and contractual copy. Proof. Everybody that no contract, that's what they mean. Responsabile unico del procedimento. We have a lot of contractual duties. Then we have to plan our contract. So we have the request for quotation, we have the cost assessment, the negotiation. We have to decide what we are buying, what we have to offer to the industry. Then one of the main important work, the awareness. As we said, we are buying something that is flying. It's not a truck. When a truck breaks down, you park it on the right of the street. When an aircraft breaks down, it doesn't park. It drops. So it's completely different. Then we have our legal requirements. Then once that contract is prepared, we have to sign, we have to approve, we have the execution. And with the execution, we have all the legal requirements that we have milestone, orders, invoicing, pay. So it's a very, very complex activity. Again. So, logistical requirement. When we we are planning and engineering our life cycle aircraft, we have to keep in mind all these elements. We have to keep in mind the cost, the life of the weapon, the aircraft, the industrial support that we want, the personnel that we have, most important of all, the money that we have. Because when we are buying a new aircraft, we are buying also the support for it for at least 30 years. If you look at the life cycle, the main cost is not buying the aircraft. The main cost is supporting the aircraft for the whole life of the aircraft. And the wrong choice at the beginning, it comports that at the end you will pay a lot more with the right than with the right choice at the beginning. So we have to think also about engine, equipment, and so on. Okay. At the end of the day, the whole decision, you will decide which kind of industrial support you need as you want. And we will see again later on, but you have a lot of possible choices. We have full contractor, logistic support, partial contractor, powered by the hour. It's very common in the civilian side. Extended user support. Then we have fifth generation logistic, performance-based logistics, and other. The only limit is your fantasy. Okay, but anyway, when you decide the logistic and industrial support, you have to keep in mind the airworthiness, this word, because you must remember that you have to prove and to show the reliability and safety assessment, but you need to guarantee the availability of the aircraft. So maintenance, reliability, safety, in order to produce, and this is an Air Force duty, to assure the continuing airworthiness of the weapon system. Again, in order to do that, you have to keep in mind a lot of things, mental, personal, project process, everything. It's a real net. Okay, just today how we are organized. General Montani spoke about logistic command. This is the actual maintenance organization. We have depot level, reparti manutenzione velivoli, reparti manutenzione elicotteri, reparti manutenzione missili. We have intermediate level at wing level, so gruppi efficienza aeromobili, sezioni efficienza aeromobili e sezioni tecniche di gruppo. It means all level maintenance. First level, second level, third level, fourth level in the Italian way. And you can see we are everywhere around it. Our challenge, how to survive with this organization and with the maintenance that we will have after 2024. Okay, now we will speak about some case study that we had in the past and we are having today in our organization, in our logistics support. As I spoke before, we have a lot of different logistics support solutions. We have the traditional one. When I entered in the Air Force, this was the normal support. It means first level, second level, third level. Air Force in charge of the maintenance and industry providing the traditional support, I mean supply, spares, training. Then we challenge something, we face the duty to the industry. One of the main questions was insourcing, outsourcing. It means Air Force is doing everything, industry is doing everything. We changed our mind so many times about that. It was depending on the money that we had, on the pressure that the industry made, and so on and so on and so on. Then we had our solution, depending on the weapon system, depending on the Western system. We were buying only fly hour support. We involved the industry in a different way. Again, more, less. We made a full contract, one single contract for the full support, not two contracts, one for the aircraft and the other for the engine. We made contracts buying everything in a single contract, even infrastructure. And then with this Joint Starfighter, we had something different again. Okay, and in the same weapon system, we changed the support depending on the types. So full contract, traditional, user support limited, AMX again, traditional, then extended user with a contract, national contract, bi-national contract, and so on. It depends on the aircraft, on the condition, and so on. Again, as I told you before, for F-16, we were, at the end of the day, we were buying 45,000 flight hours. So we were buying not traditional support. We were buying from Lockheed flying hours. Then it was more complex than that it seems, but at the end of the day, this was the solution. Again, another solution for the 3 of 6 we bought from the industry the aircraft, but not only the aircraft. We bought a full training system, full real complex training system, simulator and so on. We bought the logistics support and training again for our maintenance. And with the same contract, we bought even the infrastructure in Lecce. Another solution again. Then, this is not, it's a case study really, because at the end of the day we didn't buy a weapon system. But the HAPT was important for a simulation. The program bought also a simulation. The simulation was about the cost of the industrial support in the different cases. First case, traditional model. Government and government operated. So the maintenance key was on the Air Force and was 100. So you will 70% Air Force. Then second case, more industry and less Air Force. They said it cost less, just some money less. Then third case, some outsourcing. The word was the main core to the Air Force. The things that are not our main core outside to the industry. And then the most expensive, everything owned by the industry except for the infrastructure and the pilots. Okay, conclusion. As I said before, logistical requirements is not a consequence. It's a full requirement, and it's a full requirement at the beginning of the study. Our requirement is not only operation, must be also on the logistic requirement. And when you speak about technical operative requirement and logistical requirement, is unique. There are not separate things. They are to be merged and discussed together, because one thing influences the other. I told you, one thing is if you buy a weapon system that you are the only one to use, but if you buy a weapon system that is used by other nations, international cooperation must be a requirement. Again, flexibility, because what is good today can be not so good tomorrow. So the Air Force need to be able and to be free to change its logistic support, and the environment must let the Air Force to change its logistic support. As I said before, especially in Italy, technical contractual rules are a must, really. Again, money is important. If someone tells you that money is not a problem, money is always the main problem when you speak about logistic support to everything, but especially to a weapon system. At the end, there is not the right solution support. Every weapon system has a good solution support in a certain time. But what was perfect 10 years ago maybe is the wrong solution in 10 years' time. Okay, and this is what we always try to let to understand to our pilots. Logistic control of captains and limits men. Logistics is fundamental. Thanks everybody.